Welcome to I Told My Story YouTube channel. I'm Jake. My stomach was growling from hunger and my nerves were completely frayed. I opened the door angrily. "Where have you been? I'm starving," I said with an angry expression. "I'm sorry, sir, there was traffic. Here's your order," he said, bowing his head. I took the package and quickly opened it. "What is this? One of the burger buns is smaller. The buns should be big and equal. Take it back and bring the correct one," I said angrily. The courier bowed his head and quickly walked away. 10 minutes later, the doorbell rang again. When I opened the door, it was the same courier. "You're late again, and don't give me any excuses about traffic," I said angrily. "I'm sorry, sir. I hope it's right this time," he said, embarrassed. I took the package and quickly opened it. "There's too much onion on this burger. Take it back and get one with less onion," I said, raising my voice. The courier nodded silently and left. Finally, when the doorbell rang for the third time, my patience had run out. The courier was there again with a new package. "Let's see if you got it right this time," I said sarcastically. I opened the package and everything was as I wanted, but I was still angry. "This time it's right, but you left me waiting hungry for too long. No tip for you," I said angrily. As the courier bowed his head and was about to leave, my father, who had been watching, had a look of disappointment in his eyes.
"Jake, don't do that. That boy is working under tough conditions. Making money is not easy,"
my father said sadly. "Dad, if he did his job right, this wouldn't have happened. Aren't I a customer?" I said stubbornly.
"You need to learn to be more respectful to people, son. Not everyone is as lucky as you,"
my father said seriously. "Whatever, Dad. Everyone should do their job right and I won't yell at anyone," I said indifferently. A month had passed. I was playing my favorite game on PlayStation in my room when I suddenly heard my father's voice.
"Jake, we have a serious problem,"
he said anxiously. I stopped playing and looked at my father in surprise. "What happened, Dad? Why are you so upset?" I said with concern.
"I lost almost all our wealth in the stock market. Everything,"
he said, tears in his eyes. I couldn't fully grasp what this meant. I was in shock and didn't know what to say. "What? How? What are we going to do now?" I said in panic.
"You need to find a job after school. We won't be able to live as comfortably as before,"
my father said sadly. As I realized the seriousness of the situation, my panic grew. Find a job? I had never thought about such a thing before. "What kind of job can I do, Dad? I've never worked before," I said fearfully.
"That's something you have to figure out, son. Remember, I got you a motorcycle license."
When my father reminded me of my motorcycle license, the idea of becoming a courier came to mind. I started working at a pizza place. My first delivery was to an old man. When he opened the door, there was a look of dissatisfaction on his face. "This pizza has too little cheese. Why do you bring incomplete ingredients?" he said angrily. My next delivery was to a young girl. As soon as she opened the door, her displeasure was obvious. "This pizza is too cold. Take it back and bring a hot one," she said angrily. My third delivery was to a young boy. As soon as he opened the door, he looked at the pizza and immediately started complaining. "Why does this pizza have so few sausages? Go and get a pizza with more sausages," he said. I dealt with such complaints all day, getting more tired with each delivery. When I came home in the evening, I was exhausted. I fell asleep in my clothes. At breakfast the next morning, my father looked upset. Unable to bear the silence, I asked him, "Dad, what's wrong? Why are you so upset?" I asked curiously. My father took a deep breath and looked into my eyes.
"I put the house up for sale, Jake. We have no other choice because of our debts,"
he said sadly. These words broke my heart. Selling our house? This couldn't be real. "Where will we stay, Dad?" I asked.
"After selling the house, we'll look for a rental apartment. It will be smaller and more modest, but we'll manage somehow," he said sadly. After school, I started couriering again. This time, I took the pizza to a distant address. As soon as I opened the door, I saw the old man looking at me angrily and handed him the pizza box. "This pizza is ice cold. What are you doing?" he said angrily. "Sir, there was traffic and your house is far away," I said. But before I could finish my sentence, "Don't give me excuses about traffic. I know your boss. If I don't get a hot pizza within 30 minutes, I'll call him and get you fired," he said threateningly. I immediately rushed back to get a hot pizza. While hurrying down the road on my motorcycle with the new pizza, I fell off the bike due to a moment of carelessness.
The tire had come off, and I sat on the ground, crying in desperation. At that moment, another courier was passing by. He came over and asked with a warm smile, "Do you need help, buddy?" I looked up at him and recognized him. He was the courier I had unfairly yelled at and sent away without a tip. "I'm so sorry, I recognize you. I yelled at you unfairly before," I said with shame. The courier smiled slightly. "Forget the apology for now. Where's the pizza going? I'll take it there, then we'll fix your tire," he said and took the pizza, quickly heading off. After delivering the pizza, the courier returned to me and immediately fixed the motorcycle tire. I felt great shame in the face of this helpful attitude. I apologized thousands of times. Despite how I had treated him before, he didn't treat me the same way. Instead, he was very helpful. During our conversation, I learned his name was William. William began to calmly tell his life story. He said he had never known his parents, had been in an orphanage since he was a baby, and was working to go to university. Every word he said opened deep wounds in me. That night when I went home, I couldn't hold back my tears. I cried like crazy. I realized how spoiled and bad person I had been. At that moment, my father came into the room.
"Son, are you okay?"
He asked worriedly. I wiped my eyes and looked up. "Dad, I fell off the motorcycle today, and a courier helped me. The person who helped me was the courier I unfairly yelled at a few months ago. He told me his life story. He had never known his parents, had been in an orphanage since he was a baby, and was working to go to university. The more I remembered how I had treated him, the more I hated myself," I said through tears. My father took a deep breath.
"You need to appreciate the value of life, Jake. Look, at least you have a father. That boy's experiences are very hard, but he doesn't give up. You need to be strong like him,"
my father said seriously. We sat in silence for a while. My father's words penetrated me deeply. Then I asked him about our current situation. "Dad, what did you do today?" I asked curiously.
"I sold the house, son. All the money went to our debts. Now I'm looking for a new job. We need to find a rental house within a week,"
my father said sadly. That night, I had learned the biggest lesson of my life. Kindness, understanding, and empathy were the most valuable virtues a person could have. Courier William had taught me these lessons. With my father, I was determined to make a fresh start. The next day, I was waiting for a new order at the pizzeria. My boss came to me hurriedly and handed me a pizza.
"Jake, you need to deliver this order immediately. The person who ordered it is one of the richest in our city. Let's not embarrass him. You'll also get a hefty tip,"
he said quickly. I took the pizza box and hurriedly set off. When I arrived at the address, I was met with a massive mansion. My eyes widened in amazement. I thought about how big the place was. I rang the bell, and an elderly man with a beard opened the door. "Where have you been? I'm starving," he said angrily. "I'm sorry, sir, there was traffic," I said, but I couldn't finish my sentence. "Don't apologize, just don't let it happen again." The old man took a key out of his pocket and handed it to me. The key sparkled in the sun. "This will be the biggest tip you'll ever receive. This is the key to our new house," he said with a smile. As I looked at the key in shock, the old man removed the beer mask from his face. "Dad, is that you?" I said in astonishment. At that moment, I fainted from excitement. When I woke up, I was lying in a large room, in a spacious bed. I got up and went downstairs. My father was sitting at a large table. He turned to me and smiled.
"How do you like our new house, Jake?"
I couldn't believe my eyes. "This can't be. It must be a dream," I said and pinched myself. I screamed when it hurt. My father laughed.
"Son, you're not dreaming. This is our new home now,"
he said with a laugh. I turned to my father in disbelief. "Dad, but the debts? You had lost everything in the stock market, sold our house," I said confused. My father became serious and looked into my eyes.
"Jake, it was all a game to make you understand the realities of life. Looking at you now, I see that you've learned a good lesson,"
he said seriously. My eyes filled with tears. "Absolutely, Dad. Thank you so much for helping me understand the realities of life," I said gratefully. We hugged and cried together. I felt how valuable this moment was. My father wiped his tears and spoke with a smile.
"Sorry, I haven't found someone to cook yet because I just bought the house, but I ordered a nice hamburger,"
he said with a laugh. At that moment, the doorbell rang. "I'll get it, Dad," I said excitedly. When I opened the door, the courier was standing there with a package. "Your order is exactly as you wanted, Mr. Jake," he said with a smile. As I looked closely, I realized the courier was William. My eyes filled with tears. William, is that you? I said in astonishment and started crying as I hugged him. At that moment, my father came to us. While tears streamed down my face, I turned to my father. Dad, can William live with us too, please? I asked pleadingly. My father winked at William and smiled.
He's your brother now. I adopted him,
he said proudly. We hugged each other and started crying with happiness. Please support us by subscribing and turning on notifications. Thank you. See you in the next video. Goodbye.